Hello dear students, I welcome you for this second lecture of the chapter Ecosystem for subject Animal Ecology. In the previous lecture, we have studied, so let's take a recap of previous lecture. In previous lecture, we have studied Introduction to Ecosystem, overview of different types of ecosystem, components of the ecosystem, structure of ecosystem. In that we have studied biotic factors and abiotic factors. In today's lecture, the study objective will be Introduction to aquatic ecosystem, overview of types of freshwater ecosystems, pond and river ecosystem, abiotic factors of pond and river ecosystem, and biotic factors of the pond and river ecosystem. So in the previous lecture, we have seen this chart that all the ecosystem can be classified into two broad categories, natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. Further, natural ecosystem can be of two types, that is terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem, and these aquatic ecosystem can further be divided into freshwater ecosystem and marine ecosystem, and freshwater ecosystem are further divided into lentic and lotic ecosystem. So today we are going to discuss this freshwater ecosystem. So aquatic ecosystem can be of two types, freshwater or saltwater, that is seas and oceans. So freshwater, what is freshwater habitat? So freshwater habitat is defined as having a low salt concentration, and the salt concentration is very as low as 1%. So if the salt concentration is less than 1%, then such habitat is called as freshwater habitat. Now, study of freshwater ecosystem is called as limnology, and the person who studies freshwater ecology are referred to as limnologist. Now let's take an overview of freshwater ecosystem. So it is basically an aquatic ecosystem that contains drinkable water or water that is devoid of salt, that is not having any salt content, and it is classified by different factors like temperature, penetration of the light, and the type of vegetation present. Now, it can be of various types like lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, and other type of water reservoirs like wetlands and in the form of groundwater. So freshwater habitats, lakes, ponds, rivers, streams, springs, and wetlands. Wetland can be of further three types: marsh, swamp, and bogs. So let's take the look at the pictures of each one. So wetlands are the areas where you have land along with water. So the first type of wetland are the marshes, which are commonly seen, most common freshwater wetlands, and they are characterized by the organic wet soils and non-woody plants. That means you have grasses and shrubs, but there are no trees. So there are some pictures of marsh type of ecosystem. Then the second type of wetland are called as swamps. So in swamps you have the presence of woody plant. So the major dominated plants are the woody plants. Then such a type of wetland is called a swamp. These are the more pictures of swamps. Okay, now we move to the types of freshwater ecosystem. So there are basically two types of freshwater ecosystem, that is standing water, which is called as lentic habitat, and flowing water is called as lotic habitat or the lotic system. So lentic habitat. So lentic words is a Latin word which means sluggish. So such habitat is having calm freshwater habitat or standing water. So wherever you have standing still water, it is called as lentic habitat or lentic ecosystem. And lotic, the word lotic is derived from a Latin word which means to wash or a flowing water. So here it is the flowing water ecosystem. So here you can see a picture of lentic habitat where the water is standstill, it is not moving. On the other hand, lotic habitat, you have water which is continuously moving unidirectionally from one direction to the other direction. Some more pictures or types of lentic ecosystem includes lakes, ponds and wetlands. So which are the standing water, water is not flowing. And okay, so if we see examples of lentic habitat, first most important are the lakes. So they are relatively the freshwater habitats surrounded by the land. So lakes is lake habitat or the lentic habitat example is lakes. Another example of lentic habitat is ponds. So we know that in ponds also the water is standstill, it is not moving, but these ponds are smaller than the lake. And these are man-made habitats. So these ponds are basically made by the human beings. Okay, so now we will start with the first type of the aquatic ecosystem or freshwater ecosystem, that is lentic ecosystem. We will study with one example, that is pond ecosystem. So the different components of pond ecosystem are abiotic components. So abiotic means non-living components like water, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, amino acids, and the decaying component, that is humic acid. All these form the non-living or the abiotic component. Then come the biotic component. So in that we have producers. So producers are the in pond ecosystem are basically the aquatic green plants, and these can be further divided into submerged plants, floating plants and amphibious plants. Now these amphibious plants, that means they can live in water as well as on land, and there are two types: deep rooted or floating plants like Spirogyra, Chara, Hydrilla, Azolla, Utricularia, Vallisneria. All these are the example of large floating plants. And you have the second category, that is phytoplanktons like Volvox, Euglena and other algae. And these are the very important component of a pond ecosystem, because majority of the food is produced by these phytoplanktons. The second biotic component of a pond ecosystem are the consumers. So we know that consumers are dependent for their food requirement on the producers, that is plants. So the primary consumers are the herbivores. So which are feeding onto the plants, they are called as herbivores. So they are dependent on for their food requirement on the green plants or their remaining parts. Herbivores can be of two types in a pond ecosystem: the bottom dwelling like mollusk and insect. So bottom dwellers means they are living at the bottom of a pond. Zooplanktons, which are floating in the water. And then we have, after primary consumers, we have the second category of consumers, that is secondary consumers, which are also called as carnivores and which feed on these primary consumers like these bottom dwelling animals as well as the zooplanktons. So in this picture you can see a pond ecosystem where you will find a standstill water in which you have the bottom, at the bottom you have the decomposers or the secondary consumers, and in the middle column you have fishes or other invertebrates, and then on the top you will have the larger carnivores like other birds which are feeding onto the fishes or invertebrates. And the ultimate source of energy is always the sun. And the producers can be plants, which can be floating plants, or it can be the rooted plants. Now the last component of pond ecosystems are the decomposers, which are responsible for decomposing the dead bodies. So these include bacteria, flagellates and fungi. So they are the decomposers and they are present in high number in the bottom mud. So at the bottom you will have the high concentration of decomposers because all the producers or primary secondary consumers, once they die they will come to the bottom of the pond, and where these decomposers in the form of bacteria, algae, fungi, they will decompose the dead bodies of these animals. So this decomposition occurs very fast, and due to this there occurs a replenishment of the nutrients. So whatever organic components of these animals, they are decomposed and the nutrients are released, which can be reused by the producers, that is the plants. Okay, so after completing this example of lentic ecosystem, that is a pond ecosystem, we come to the second type of freshwater ecosystem, that is a flowing water ecosystem, and we will take one example, that is a river ecosystem. So what are the characteristics of a river ecosystem? It is continuously flowing, however the flow of water is unidirectional. That means water is flowing in only one direction. There is state of continuous physical change because water is continuously flowing, the nutrients of the water may change and there is a continuous physical change takes place. Even other characters like temperature can change. Then there is high degree of spatial and temporal heterogeneity in microhabitats. Since water is flowing, it can have different microhabitats and that can have different composition of animals or other living organisms. Then there could be variability is very high in this type of flowing water system or lotic ecosystem. Now since the water is continuously moving, there is circulation of air takes place in the water and it results into the distribution of oxygen, carbon dioxide as well as the temperature is. So in a typical river ecosystem, the surface of water is proportional to the total volume of water in lake because the rivers are basically deeper than the ponds. Lakes can be classified into three basic types based on the amount of nutrition they have or they provide to the fishes and other living organisms. So these three types of lakes are, first is eutrophic lakes, which means relatively shallow lakes. So the depth is low. However, they contain a very high quantity of nutrients. So they are rich in nutrients for algae and other aquatic plants, and therefore you will find the high proportion of living organisms like crustaceans, other little fishes as well as larger fishes. The second type of lakes are called as oligotrophic lakes. Oligotrophic lakes are deep compared to eutrophic lakes. They have the less amount of nutrients and the number of animals are also less compared to eutrophic lakes, but they are rich in oxygen. Here the oxygen is less. In oligotrophic lake the oxygen is very high. The third type of lakes are in between these two, so the nutrient content is in the medium range. So let's have a look at the picture of these all three types of lakes. So a eutrophic lake will have the high proportion of nutrients, so you will have mat growth of plants, it will have very rich in nutrients, so you will have many living organisms like invertebrates, fishes, smaller or as well as the larger fishes. The oligotrophic lakes, you will see a clean water because their nutrients are less, so there is less growth of aquatic plants, as well as you will have less number of the other organisms. Mesotrophic lakes, it is the intermediate condition between a oligotrophic and a eutrophic lake. The nutrient content is in a medium range, so you will have the intermediate growth of the plants, aquatic plants, and intermediate diversity of the fishes and other invertebrate organisms. So let's have a look at the abiotic factors of a river ecosystem. So the three important factors or the non-living factors or abiotic factors that govern the river ecosystem are flow of water, light, and temperature. Now the first parameter, that is flow of water, is very important because water is continuously moving, as well as the water channel can change during this flow of the water. So it plays a very important role in the biota or the living organisms which are present in that particular stream of water. The second important factor is light, because the sunlight is a very important factor because it is responsible for the photosynthesis of the producers. So if the abundance of the sunlight is present, then only the producer can produce the good amount of the biomass, and that biomass in the form of producers can be utilized by primary consumers, that is herbivores, and the food chain will continue. So the intensity of the light and turbidity of water decides the amount of light that is reaching to the bottom of this river ecosystem, and ultimately the productivity, that means number of plants or the producers which are produced in the river ecosystem. The third important parameter is temperature. Now we know that temperature plays a very important role on the what are the living organisms present in that particular ecosystem. So since water is continuously flowing, water can be warmed or cooled through the radiation at the surface and conduction which takes place from the air and the other substrates which are present in that particular ecosystem. So changes in temperature can play a very important role in the living organisms which are present in the river ecosystem. So that's why the flow of water, light, and temperature are the important abiotic factor of river ecosystem. Now we move to the biotic factors of river ecosystem, that includes bacteria, plants, algae, invertebrates, as well as vertebrates in the form of fishes and other birds. So let's see the first biotic factor, that is bacteria. Now we know that they are in large number present in the river ecosystem, and they play a very important role, that is of recycling, because all the dead organic matter that settles to the bottom of river is converted into inorganic form. So organic material is converted to inorganic form. So this elemental form can be again reused. So you get carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen that can be reused by the plants which are the producers for the next cycle. The next important biotic factor of riverine ecosystem are the plants, which are also called as producers. So plants undergo photosynthesis using sunlight, and with the help of their chlorophyll pigment they can produce the food material. So they are also called as producers. They are very important and vital component of the riverine ecosystem. Without producers, the river ecosystem cannot survive. The next important biotic factor is algae. So algae includes all the phytoplanktons as well as periphytons, and they play a very important source of primary production. So after the plants, the important food source is in the form of phytoplanktons, because all the higher organism, maybe invertebrates or the fishes, they are dependent on this phytoplankton or periphytons for their food requirement. So they develop in large numbers in the moving streams as well as backwaters. Now next important component of a river ecosystem are the invertebrates. So invertebrates are the, we can say them as a primary consumers. So they feed onto the plants, and 90% of the organism in a riverine ecosystem are nothing but invertebrates. So they include mollusks like snails, limpets, clams, mussels like bivalve, as well as crustacean like crabs, crayfish, etc., which acts as a consumer. So they are feeding onto the producers, and they are present everywhere on water surface, under the stones, or beneath any substratum. Now out of these invertebrates, insects are very important because they are eaten by the smaller fishes as well as the larger fishes. So they form the important component of these invertebrates. So several, okay, now we move to the last component, that is fishes. So several different size of fishes ranging from the small to large size fishes are present in river ecosystem, and they are feeding on the invertebrates as well as planktons. These planktons can be phytoplanktons or zooplanktons. So with this we conclude today's lecture. So in today's lecture we have discussed the aquatic ecosystem. So there are two types, that is freshwater and marine ecosystem. Today we concentrated onto the freshwater ecosystem, which is of two types, lentic or standing water and lotic or flowing water ecosystem. So we have taken one example of lentic ecosystem, that is pond ecosystem. We have studied what are the biotic and abiotic component of a pond ecosystem, as well as from lotic ecosystem we have taken example of riverine ecosystem, and we have studied the biotic and abiotic components of the river ecosystem. With this we conclude today's lecture. Thank you for your patience hearing.